Hello guys. Welcome back to another video on Hooligans Gaming. A new season has arrived yet again on Gwent. And with it, comes patch 8.3, which introduces 12 exciting new cards to add to the fun. You will be sure to see these new cards being played, again and again, throughout this season. I am sure players will be eager to try out these new powerful cards, and of course, the emergence of new decks. Let's take a dive in and see what these cards bring to the game and potential decks. For Nilfgaard, we first have Henrietta. When played, she replaces your leader ability with a base copy of your opponent's leader ability. So, the best use for her is definitely after you have used your leader ability, and then you get to use your opponent's. She certainly adds a lot of fun factor and some unpredictability into a deck. Next up we have Emir Var Emrys. On deploy you draw a card, then move a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. Each time your opponent plays a unit, it will gain spying status. That is not all. If you play a devotion deck, at the end of your turn, you will seize a random 1 power spying unit. He is definitely powerful unit, and he synergizes well with other cards such as Usurper Officer and Vincent van Moorlam. You will see him in a lot of Nilfgaard decks this season. Definitely a card for Heatwave and removal, if you are playing against Nilfgaard. Skellige remains my favorite faction this season. With the introduction of Ice Tower Siege, it makes it an even better time to play Skellige. With this card, whenever you discard a Skellige unit during your turn, summon it from your graveyard to this row. This card makes way for some creative and powerful plays, but you got to watch out for the Bloodthirst requirement. When played together with a Blaze of Glory leader ability together with a high power unit such as Yuta Indaman, you will realize the full power of this combo. Kraken Crate is played with pirate or ship cards. On deploy, he will give 2 armor to 3 pirates or ships in your hand. And whenever you play a pirate or ship next to Krak, damage it and the lowest power enemy unit by each other's power. So you need to watch out for the placement of your cards. The verdict is still out on whether pirates will be strong this season with this card. Scoia'tael gets another boost to dwarves this season. Brewer Hope gains 1 armor for every dwarf in your hand when he is played. And as long as he has armor, at the end of your turn, he will boost all dwarves with armor on the same row by 1. He will be an extremely powerful engine to deal with, if left unattended. I am sure players will want to have a defender out to protect him when they can. Elden is an elf you do not want to mess with. You will encounter him in decks full of traps, and elven deadeyes. It should not come as a surprise if you see Feign Death and Vernos Seal in the deck with Elden. He transforms all your face-up traps into elven deadeyes, and artifacts as well, if you only have Scoia'tael units. In a perfect round, expect to see lots of traps, then Elden being played, followed by Vernos Seal to wrap things up. Northern Realms gets a boost from King Foltest. When played, the first time a bronze unit on your side of the board is boosted each turn, a base copy of it will be spawned at the bottom of your deck. He will likely be played with commandos, and even Erland who gets extra boosts from the spawn units at the bottom of the deck. Queen Mead joins in the fun as well this season. When played, she starts with a counter of 3. If she is boosted, the counter will be lowered each turn by 1, and when it reaches 0, she will boost all allied units by 1. She feels like a bone talisman, except with a counter and is a non-neutral card. I am not sure how well she will be used this season, as this card needs to be timed, and it may be awkward in terms of sequencing, especially if used with adrenaline cards. Fans of vampires will be very excited for monsters. It looks like bleeding is back on the plate with this update. Detelaf Vandera Reteen, when played, will spawn Blood Moon on an enemy row for 1 turn. The duration will be increased by 1 for every adjacent vampire. He has an order, which damages an enemy unit with bleeding by 1, with a cooldown of 1. If he deals a death blow, an Chimera will be spawned on the same row. Detelaf has synergy with units that work with bleeding, such as Oriana and Fletter. Next, we have Unseen Elder, another vampire with bleeding. On deploy, he gives bleeding for 4 turns to an enemy unit. At the end of your turn, he gives bleeding for 2 turns to a random enemy unit without bleeding. So imagine if your opponent has spawned a lot of tokens on the board. That provides a lot of targets for Unseen Elder to bleed. It will be fun to watch how vampire decks work this season. Lastly, we come to Syndicate, the faction that has lagged behind the rest for a while. Cleaver is a dwarf and a crown splitter with a starting power of 1. However, he can be boosted by an amount depending on the number of adjacent crown splitters. Each time a crime card is played, he will be boosted. By paying a fee of 4 coins, you can also spawn Cleaver's muscle on the same row. This is a decent card. But it can easily be removed due to the low initial power. Potentially he can play for a lot of points, if the opponent does not have any removal. The last card we will look at is Sun Jr. When played, he damages a boosted enemy unit by 6. You then gain a coin for every point of excess damage dealt. You can pay a fee of 3 coins to destroy an enemy of power 3 or less. So in an optimal situation, this can be a 14-point play that swings in your way. Very powerful indeed. As you can see, we have some really exciting new cards to be played this season. There should be a lot of variety of decks being played, with a mix of factions encountered on the ranked ladder. Personally, I think a Skellige Blaze of Glory deck with Iced will be up there with the best, either in Tier 0 or Tier 1 this season. Well, we have come to the end of this short video. I hope you have enjoyed this, and if you do, please subscribe. And yes, happy Gwenting!